just getting into this music, guys. I mean, is this not funky music? Some of the best music in the world. I won't start making you hear my singing voice, I promise. Well, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. A lot of topics to talk about today. We've got the near Franco-American war with France. I think that's actually redundant. The near Franco-American war that Donald Trump prevented. We learned all about that last night. Could have been bad. I think they were going to throw baguettes at us, and not sure what we'd fight back with. What else is going on? Oh, we were talking about Tucker Carlson when we were ending Tony's show. He'll be here in a little bit. We'll talk about his mommy issues. I don't think mommy issues turn you into a Russian spy, as Justin Trudeau said he was. Tucker Carlson was under oath. But they can make you hate women so much that you do irrational things and you're obnoxious and you tell weird stories about daddy wanting to spank your 15-year-old daughter. Yeah, he did say that. What else do we got on the... Oh, Hitler. Of course. How can we forget? For some reason, the Republican Party loves him. I'm going to go with because they're fascists. And the real just disappointing, angering thing, I made a short about this earlier, is the fact that we always kind of knew this about Donald Trump. We'd heard he kept a book by his bedside of speeches, and he's obviously said plenty of anti-Semitic things. He said things about immigrants, vermin, these kinds of dehumanizing things that Nazis said about Jews. But, and some little sort of anti-Semitic stereotypes here and there, like, oh, all you people know how to negotiate, don't you? He's great at stuff like that. But when he was talking to a Jewish crowd. But this, the admiring, wanting Hitler's generals and admiring Hitler and thinking he did some good things. Always what the anti-Semites say. I mean, look, okay. Yes, killed 11 million people just in camps. Oh, right. German soldiers, German civilians in Dresden, firebombed in Berlin, destroyed, and all across Europe, murdered millions of other innocent people. My God, just in Russia alone, in Ukraine, and, what was then Czechoslovakia, and, we go on through the rest. France, too. That was the war with France. But he did do some good things. He did say he cared about regular people, as he also cut their wages, stole their money, threw them into camps if they disagreed with him, and the rest. So there must have been something good he did. I always love how they go to the good things. I really do, because, again, when you're balancing stuff out, you could be like, this guy actually, got into some trouble, was drunk driving once. But, I mean, look at these amazing things that this person was able to do. I mean, sadly, a perfect example would be Teddy Kennedy, who obviously drove off of a bridge and did some terrible things when he was younger. And then you look at his long legislative record and you're trying to figure out, did he ever make up for that? Was that okay? Did he, was there redemption? I don't think there could have been redemption for Hitler. He did a few too many bad things. I think just with the final solution, I'd probably say, probably not. And in addition to that, we've gotten to the war in France and Hitler and Tucker Carlson. That's actually a good threesome right there. Not the kind of threesome that Mark Robinson likes. That's different. Usually involves, some jiggly stuff going on. But a good threesome nonetheless. Hey, Tony's here. We can get back to talking about everybody's favorite.
Speaking of threesome, oh my God, I come over from my show, and you're immediately talking about Mark Robinson liking a threesome. I like that. That's good.
Well, I mean, can we really ever let what Mark Robinson did go? It's not only in the realm of hypocrisy, and some of that stuff is sort of in the realm of gross, right? But it's hilarious. I mean,
it's kind of like Tucker Carlson talking about vigorously spanking his 14-year-old daughter, 15-year-old daughter, which I don't know. That probably makes it worse. It's probably worse that it's 15-year-old than a 14-year-old.
Tucker, he has daughters, doesn't he? I think he does. That makes the whole story worse.
Right. Well, here's the thing too, is that When I was a kid, of course, back then they believed in spankings. Now I only got a few. Right? It didn't take me too many to realize that it's probably a good idea not to fucking do shit that's going to get you fucking spanked. But here's the thing, and maybe that's some people's argument for spanking.
And that didn't differentiate by region, just to be clear, Tony. Like, I got some spankings too in New York. So that was a pretty widely held belief. Yeah.
Right. And again, I guess some people might make the argument that that's why it works. And some people would make the opposite argument. But I'm going to tell you a story about my mom tells a story a lot. She got really mad at me. I don't remember what I did. I probably did something really horrible. It was probably as smoking cigarettes or got caught drinking or some bullshit.
Just a bad kid.
Yeah, I was just a horrible piece of shit. But here's the thing: is that she decided that she was going to give me a spanking, right? And I'm like 15 years old. Of course, I'm laughing at her that she's decided because she's so mad at me. And she went and got her hairbrush that she'd had for like, I don't know, like 30 years. It's like a wooden hairbrush. It's like handmade or some shit. And that's what she was going to use, because she knew her hand wasn't going to be good enough. I was a 15-year-old boy. I was taller than she was at the time when she was going to do this. I was like, this is really stupid. So
Matto G. Riley, a new member. Thank you. Go ahead.
So she proceeds to do that. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll play along. This is going to be great. This is going to be funny. So I actually let her do it. I was like, yeah, I'll just let you. And she broke her most cherished brush over my ass. And I was laughing at her. Then she was mad at me, not for only what I did, but that I broke the brush.
I didn't know that you had such a firm ass.
Yeah, well, I do. I have they're nice cheeks. I'm not gonna lie. It's very
Angela Markin. Thank you for the gift of a membership. That was very kind of you. Really appreciate it. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Tony, tell us more about your ass.
That was my ass is hard enough to break a wooden brush. But I'll tell you that I didn't get a lot of spankings from my parents because obviously I learned my lesson. But I did have some aunts and uncles and my grandma, and like they weren't opposed to lay a whooping down either. And I had an aunt who used wooden spoons. She had a whole drawer of wooden spoons. And it wasn't for me. Her sons were assholes too, just like I was. Like we were all related.
Yeah, I believe it.
But yeah, so she had a drawer of wooden spoons, and you had to have a drawer of them because you were constantly breaking them and had to throw them away. But she would also twist ears. Oh, that was a motherfucker.
Ooh, that hurts too.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't get that done. Can I bring up something quickly? William Knight here said, I was on Tony's live podcast, but it didn't transition automatically here. I had to manually click to get here. Just thought I'd let you guys know.
That's weird because it is. I did have a redirect on it, so could be just a glitch.
It could have been a glitch. We'll get it worked out. Yeah, you know what's funny? So my parents, there were a couple spankings, especially when I was young, but not when I was 15 or 14 or 13 or 12. I think they'd very much stopped by, mine
had stopped once I learned my lesson that I didn't do shit to get spanked. I mean,
right. And as you pointed out, like you can teach lessons that way, but do you want to teach your kids violence is the way you stop? That's the first thing you go to. I mean, let's be honest here. There are times we need to go to war. We all know that, but we hope that that's the last resort, right? And I just feel like, and again, I'm criticizing in a way my own parents somewhat. I'm not trying to. I think that was a widely held belief then, and I think you would rather try to, in my estimation, use carrots instead of sticks and reinforce good behaviors from a child as opposed to that. Now, again, I'm not going to judge everybody. I get it, but you do have to be careful. Be careful these days, especially. There's a point where it crosses over from a spanking on the butt to, oops, I punched you in the nose, and that's what we call assault.
Right.
And
listen, I've been assaulted. I went to a babysitter when I was a kid, and I'm telling you,
Eileen Posner, new member. Go ahead.
That they would do because I see Jim Williams says, go get me a switch. She would make you go pick out a switch. But the babysitter's husband, who was retired at the time, he always had a fly swatter, because he was killing flies, like a fly serial killer. And he would turn. It was the kind of fly swatter that had the wire handle, like a fucking hanger, like a wire hanger, and he would turn that son of a bitch around, and that's what he would hit you with. So
that's
you
not
would,
good. You don't want that.
You would be much likely to be like, yeah, I'll go get a switch. I'd rather get a switch than that fucking wire handle of that damn fly swatter. So,
Tracy Rowe here said my dad punched me in the face when I was 9 on Christmas because I wanted to open presents.
ooh.
That's not good. I'm sorry that happened to you. I hope the rest of the story of things with your dad were better than that, because that's horrible.
Well,
my dad
I think
punched
that's
me in the
kind
head
of
for quitting something.
I think that's the pattern that you're talking about. You know, like you get in this habit that you're gonna like use physical means to correct another human being, and you know it comes to the point to where it's not you're just correcting them anymore. You know, you're doing it out of anger. When you're doing it, and even Tucker in that clip that I showed on my show, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna spank you vigorously," and it's because, you know, I'm gonna get at you or some stupid shit. So,
yes, and I think that's the thing. I'll say quickly, we did have. So I went to a very sort of liberal-minded, open-minded. Like we actually. Remember Tony, how old I am. When I got there in preschool, it was sort of the late 70s, you know, whatever. And my school actually was integrated, which was a big deal, you know, and what, you know, so it was a very liberal minded. The lessons they taught you were liberal. It was Episcopalian school. Okay. I bring this up because there was one Catholic teacher there, the science teacher. And if you got there late, we had to have a tie and like a button-down shirt. If your shirt was hanging out, if you were talking in class, she'd grab your hand and hit your hand with the frickin' ruler. And I can't tell you, and I'm sorry, folks, for saying this, but I'm just going to say it, how many times I wanted to punch that old bag back. Oh, my God, did I want to. So, I mean, the hatred for her from everybody there. And then I heard she died in a cross-continental flight, and I didn't get upset about it.
Oh man, is that the real story? Is that how she died?
That actually, she was a lot older at that time. Yeah, she had a heart attack on a flight across, and everybody's like, "Are you going to go to her funeral at the church?" You know, that was tied to this going. I'm like, "Fuck no! Are you kidding me?" I may march in a parade is what I might do. I mean, she was vicious. I'm sorry. I had no sympathy and no empathy there. That's you little kids. Beating them with a ruler in the hand? No, wrong. And frankly, today, I wish that I'd been there to work today. She did to me, so my family could sue her and we could just retire, and not like Tucker Carlson use the money to become a Russian spy, but have that money so that we could go sit on an island. You like my transition over to Tucker, because we're gonna have a great guy, LOLGOP on Twitter. Jason Sattler is joining us in about 7 minutes, so I want to at least get to Tucker or one or two other things with you first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk Tucker. Were you done talking about that schmucker? I felt like you had more to say.
I mean, I will say if you go watch the clip of Tucker Carlson, he's obviously trying to rabble-rouse the crowd, and he knows the crowd that is in there that responds to the idea that you would use physical violence against a child. And the reason why is because they're like, yeah, I was beat when I was a kid, so we should beat these kids, right? Because that's kind of the perpetuating abuse that happens from generation to generation, because I was treated that way, I got to treat my kids that way. Now, different generations have evolved, I guess you could say, that they're like, I'm not going to be like my parents or like my grandparents. I don't want to treat my kids that way. Whether that's right, wrong, or different, you know, every person's kind of got their liberty to parent the way that they want. And I think they should, but also abuse is abuse. And, you know, you got to call it as you see it. And what Tucker Carlson is describing is abuse in his little rabble rousing that he was doing. Right.
And again, I do think it's incredibly important to point out that he's talking about a 15-year-old girl.
Right.
He's talking about a girl who has reached puberty, who likely has breasts, who likely, I mean, like, it's disgusting.
And he's saying the word vigorous.
It's repulsive.
Vigorous. Right. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and because I'm not the best with the English language. I only speak one, and I barely speak English. But here's the thing: vigorous to me, like when someone would say vigorously, it's like an excitement word, right? Like,
it is.
He gets
about excited by the spanking. There's something very off and wrong. And again, we talked about his mom on your show leaving when he was young, and his after that hatred for women. There are even interviews when he was younger where he gave it away, where he'd say, "Oh, no big deal. We don't care. She left us. She basically." I'm paraphrasing. She left us. She sucks. We didn't need her. Like you could tell, he still was angry.
You mean these are interviews from where like he was interviewed by someone and telling his life story?
Yes, because they asked him about his mom. This is like when he was first starting out, I think he might have still been a writer for conservative newspapers, magazines. I think he wrote for the Weekly Standard.
Is this before he got fired from all the cable news networks? This is before that. Okay.
This is before
Isn't he the only one? Isn't he the only one that's been fired from all three?
Only one I'm aware of. It was sort of like, is there anything left? I mean, I'm really shocked at this point. He hasn't just gotten a show on RT. It's like, take the plunge, man.
Man, maybe that's why. Maybe we should give Tucker a little more credit. Maybe that's why he went to Putin, because it was the last cable news station that he could even be on that he hadn't been fired from. Maybe he's trying to go for the hat trick. You know what I mean? To just
and that's why I was saying to you before. I was shocked that he when you're saying bigger crowds than Trump. Well, I guess that's maybe true because Trump's crowds are very, very small right now because everybody hates Trump is an idiot and says dumb things like we'll get to later. We're going to war with France, or I stopped the war with France, or whatever. But and babbles and wanders around when the mic doesn't work and all of that. But Tucker Carlson is a uniquely angry, uncharismatic figure. I know I say that about a lot on the right, but it happens to be true. So everywhere he went, he was this dour, dickish guy that would nobody would watch and he'd lose his show. And the only reason. That's what he so craves, that love and adulation. Gee, mommy issues. And that's the reason why he was willing at Fox to leave traditional conservatism behind and head into populist right-wing fascism and start demonizing groups, because that was the only way he could get an audience. He was never going to get an audience based on his personality. He was only going to get an audience based on a shared hatred, where the Nazis who came out and said they approved of his show. A bunch of them said they loved his show, that his show was their show, that he knew he could get them. He get the Stormfront website to light up and be like, yeah.
I got one more thought about Tucker before I let you get to your next guest here. Here's my thought about Tucker, now that you're saying all these things, is that there is going to be a power vacuum in MAGA and in the Republican Party when Donald Trump loses. Now, there was a power vacuum on January 6th in 2021. A lot of them, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, they all went to the House and, just squash this idea that it was anything but an insurrection on the floor, and then they tuck tail and run once Trump closed that power vacuum, because Trump quickly closed the power vacuum. But that power
Kevin McCarthy, it's important to say, will always be one at the top of the list of evil in history, because when people were busy rejecting Trump and it looked like the Republican Party was finally ready to walk away, he was the one that went down because he realized Trump could help him get a speakership with the people, the ones that were still, the key MAGA folks that still were with Trump. Kevin McCarthy thought, I already have, the conservative non-MAGA folks. If I can get those, I can be speaker, and was willing to trade that for his own. And this is the story of the last, 10 years. Careerism, these wimpy, weak people who for careerist reasons will be good little Germans, as they call them, to get their promotions, to get their money, to whatever it is that they want. And that's what, and so you're right, that closed the power.
Hear me out, but hear me out on this. Maybe Vladimir Putin is hedging his bet by making sure that Tucker Carlson is getting out there and attracting these crowds and rabble-rousing these crowds, because if that power vacuum opens again, maybe Tucker Carlson could snatch that power away, and Putin would have the inside edge again on the GOP and MAGA.
I wouldn't write. I think it's a brilliant point. I wouldn't write that off, because remember,
that's brilliant.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, for a guy with a hat on backwards in the Ozarks, you're fucking semi-smart. I'm kidding. But
genius,
in all
genius.
Yeah, genius. Exactly. You're a stable genius.
Right.
Television, camera, microphone,
Right. Exactly. Right.
Russia, and treason.
Fish sticks.
No, but
fish sticks. You forgot the fish sticks.
Fish sticks, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But remember that remember his name was being floated in polls.
Oh yeah.
And if you know this business, and I do, then you know that wasn't by accident.
Right.
I mean, is there a chance
that's why I bring it up.
No, and that's why I'm saying it's a brilliant point, because is there a chance that one person would say, hey, I want to get some attention, I'm going to put Tucker Carlson's name in a poll? Absolutely. That so many were doing it absolutely tells me it's like a big red flag. It was a coordinated effort that Tucker was testing the waters and reaching out to connections, just the way he reached out to Hunter Biden to get his appliance-named son into a college. He was reaching out to his friends at polling firms,
trying to get Blender into Yale. He's trying to get Blender into Yale. Yeah. Well, that happens.
And he was reaching out and trying to see. I would not be surprised at all, because I think even Trump gets his butt kicked in this election will be in such bad mental and physical shape. Like, he may not even be able to move anymore. He's going to get like increasingly like Jabba the Hutt, where he's going to be like, solo, with a big tongue.
I thought he was already there. I thought he was there. But
he can, even though he walks, as Dave Bautista pointed out, very slowly down a ramp. Hey, Grandma, you there yet? Remember when he did that?
Yeah.
He still can walk down a ramp. I'm talking about, like, he's got heart disease. Those things that Ronnie Johnson, the non-doctor, showed. I mean, he had the beginnings of heart disease. He eats like a toddler. He doesn't exercise. He's at the age he's at, he's going to deteriorate physically very quickly, as he is mentally. I don't know if he soon will be like Jabba the Hutt, in that he will not be able to move at all.
So I think they tote him around in like a wheelbarrow or something. Like that's where my country ass mind goes.
They're going to scrape him up with a huge shovel. But they're basically
a manure fork.
They're going to have
in the wheelbarrow.
They're going to have to move on to somebody who can, even if they're, if they're, well, actually, it's not a bug, it's a feature. They're a lying sack of crap. They're going to move on to somebody like that, but who can speak, but also can move physically, can physically get from one place to the other with their legs.
So what you're saying is, if they want to vigorously spank their 15-year-old daughter, that they would be able to physically manage to do that. Okay.
What I'm saying is, Tucker Carlson will have, like, it'll be like the kissing booth at a fair, like, $1 for a kiss. He'll charge you $15 to put your daughter on his lap, so he can vigorously spank the crap out of her.
Do you get free fish sticks too before you leave? Do you get the fish sticks?
And of course, I think we've already gotten this one demonetized too. So that's
absolutely kind of fantastic. But that's what you get when you invite me on. You should probably stop having me on if you want to monetize these.
I know. I don't know what my problem is. I don't seem to learn. I think human beings, in theory, this is why I know evolution failed. Like, trial and error was supposed to be a thing,
right?
But I keep doing the same dumb things over and over again.
I mean, I'm so much fun.
I stuck my hand in a fire earlier, and I was like, "Ow, hot!"
Right. Well, I'm just I'm so much fun that it's worth having a little bit of.
You are a ton of fun, and my good friend LOL GOP, Jason Statler, is also lots of fun, and I see he has just arrived.
Okay.
So I think
I'll get the hell out of the way, and maybe you'll be able to monetize the second half of this thing.
That's right. We can monetize part of it, although I think Jason can throw out some swear words with the best of them too. We're going to see if we can demonetize the whole goddamn thing. In all seriousness, Tony, thank you for leading into my show. It is amazing.
And I
thank you for
check
teaching
to
me
see
how
if
to
it
do
works.
this.
I had it all set, and it seemed to work, but some are saying it didn't work for them. So there must be a glitch on YouTube.
That sounded so Fox News. Some are saying it didn't work.
Some people are saying.
Others are saying Trump's support for Hitler isn't that bad.
Right. I mean, Hitler did good things, like he took his own life. All right, everybody, we'll see you. That's probably the only good thing Hitler ever did, was to eat an ammo sandwich.
Oh, no, Candace Owens pointed out he did stuff very good, but if he'd stayed domestic. Okay, we'll stop with that. Listen, thank you for being here. I'm going to let my buddy in.
I'll tell you, Hitler eats a great ammo sandwich, and he's great at it. So there is one good thing that he did. All right, everybody, we'll see you later.
Take care, buddy. And now, to add to the stage, we have the one, the only. If you guys are on Twitter and you don't know who LOL GOP is, I think you're probably one of the early viral accounts Is that right? Like, you just grew enormously quickly when Twitter was still an early thing.
I think people thought I was Tag Romney. I kind of spread the rumor that I was Tag Romney, and I think people liked the idea there was an anonymous member of the Romney family, Tag or Nipple or Diddle or one of his other sons, and
or just that they named somebody Tag. I mean, who does that?
We were just into it. Yeah. So yeah, back in the day, it used to matter a lot more before Elon decided to make it his neo-Nazi super PAC. But
well, you were funny as hell. You are funny as hell, and I should tell people quickly. So if you do not know Jason goes by LOL. I can speak English. GOP on Twitter, as you can see here. Tina Bradford, $4.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But he went by Jason Sadler when he was, and this is some impressive stuff, guys, a columnist with USA Today. So Jason was for a couple of years. I don't remember how long, but was a columnist, political columnist with USA Today.
About 5 years. Yeah.
5 years. He's a podcaster. I'm going to get it right. Yes. Early Worm is his YouTube. Seriously, guys, this is one of the funniest people. Like, reading his stuff, you will laugh. Listening to what he has to say, you will laugh. Go subscribe. Obviously, I hope you stay here or you go there and then come back. But I'll remind you at the end, before Jason leaves, that Early Worm is the YouTube. Go there. He's like just started. We want to get him, get him monetized, have him grow. We need to grow people on the voices on the left that are ass kicking, funny. We'll take no crap from Republicans. So go. Somebody's putting a question mark in there, Mr. WW. I don't know if that's because you didn't hear it. What I said was Early Worm is the name. Funnier than Hal. Hal Sparks, who I go on with every week. He's a very funny guy. Jason's a very funny guy. Tony's a very funny guy. Probably all funnier than I am. So,
we're all funnier than Hitler. We're all funnier.
And they're all funnier than Hitler. Even when he was alive, they're definitely funnier than dead Hitler.
Yes.
Hitler, his jokes now just don't land at
Definitely
all.
Funnier dead, though, I would have to say.
That's true. Funnier for us, dead. I do appreciate him dying. That was one of the kinder things he did.
Yes.
So yeah, why don't we start there, my friend? Because, we've marveled. I want to get your opinion on this overall, but marveled being like just shocked. I put out a short video the other day, and the gist of it was, when I was growing up, I ended up, obviously, I took history classes. That was my strength. Went up through college as a history major, even went up and took PhD history classes and was too damn lazy to write a dissertation and didn't want to go work at some obscure university where I'd probably, never rise up very high and blah, blah, blah. But I took a lot of history. And I will say, one of the things throughout all of it was I could never understand how in a democratic society somebody as evil as Hitler could rise. Like, a lot of us would ask each other those questions. How does that happen? And what I said in this video is every single one of those questions has been answered for me the last 8 years. Every one. You get a combination of people have heard my talk about the media, weak, compliant, both sides, compromised, everything. Just a joke with a couple of exceptions I like to point out. On the corporate side, Philadelphia Inquirer does a great job. Cleveland Plain Dealer. They've decided they're not going to play into the crap of we're going to pretend Trump's normal. But most newspapers have. The New York Times failed miserably, and that's harmed all of us because smaller papers that don't have the resources, like the Cincinnati Inquirer here, look to the New York Times to tell them what they should be covering. Right. And do that. So CNN, awful. All these outlets have been awful. Then we allowed the rise to the hiding behind the First Amendment, and I do not believe it is a correct interpretation of it. I think we have things like inciting riot. We have other things. I'm not a lawyer, but Jesus Christ, we've allowed this right-wing propaganda machine to rise. We allow Fox News to call itself a news station and get a seat in the White House briefings. That too. I think the Justice Department, now I know that you're a partner of yours you work with may disagree with me on this, Jason, but I think Merrick Garland has been incredibly weak. I think even if he could not get legal cases out there quickly enough. And even if he felt like it's not his job politically to be the face, which I would understand because you don't want to politicize the AG, someone should have been communicating with us regularly and making clear who was involved, not who they were actually looking into. You can't talk about open cases, but how wide the breadth of this was in MAGA. There are people running for re-election now, Ted Cruz, Lauren Boebert, people who were at those meetings with Trump and were never held accountable. And that is another thing. And then, just add in Democrats, at first being weak. We now have our Jasmine Crockett, Swalwells, people that are willing to have viral moments, hit back hard. But for years, we were what I called the Reagan crouch, the oldest generation, boomers and whatever, who still thought somehow Republicans had the popular policies and the charismatic leader and all of that stuff, when that hasn't been a thing for 30 years now. Yeah. Add other things that I'm missing here, but the point being, that all of that has contributed, and here we are. And so I have no more questions. This is what happened in a quicker time frame in the Weimar Republic. But I do want to know what you think, because you can be like, Cliff, you're completely wrong and you're an idiot. And I encourage you to say that if you think that. I want to know what you think.
Yeah, I do think that we're actually in a moment in the last 2 or 3 months where it's hit a point that I think that even the people who were hesitant to call it fascism, or hesitant to say that we're in a uniquely dystopian turning point for America, they're being honest about it. And I think what people have recognized is that corporate America, conservative elite, have decided it's a good bet. That Donald Trump is a good bet for them in a variety of ways. And this is preferable to them than paying slightly higher taxes. And all those things that you're talking about they're all important. They all tie into the kind of the trend in the kind of the tide of not taking Donald Trump seriously. And he gives you every indication not to take him seriously. He looks like a corpse. He looks like a pumpkin that has been allowed to be on your porch for too long. He looks like an animated zombie of himself. He looks like
he's a Walking Dead character, but not even the main one. One of the ones in the back that with torn pants, whose leg is dragging as they're walking. And okay.
Yes. And he's now tied into the worst, every bad trend in the Republican Party. And you kind of epitomize this by Mitch McConnell. You epitomize this by Bill Barr. You epitomize this by Kevin McCarthy, where all of these people are weak cowards, and he is a bold coward. And being a bold coward, when there is that much money behind you, when you have Elon Musk willing to spend, I mean, you say, why is this election close? Elon Musk literally spent $44 billion to make this election close. And that's the start of it. That's starting 2 years ago, what he was spending to there. The money that is behind this, the money that is coming from oil, the money that is coming from, the LA Times is unwilling to endorse because the billionaire owner of that is friends with Elon Musk. The amount of capital, the bet that has been placed against democracy is immense. And I think that is the massive story of this.
Finish.
Yeah.
Because I just want to say, Cynthia Rice, Musk is a dipshit. Yes. Thank you, Tim Walz, for that one, because that is, again, I feel like that's what we should be calling all of these guys. When you can't go in a store and order donuts, you're a dipshit. Okay. When you're Ted Cruz and you're sneaking off and letting your dog freeze and the people freeze to Cancun with your little pot belly and your stupid Texas mask on, you're a dipshit. And we can go on and on and on.
And there's a freedom in being that kind of dipshit, and I think I think that's so great that Walz called that out, and it's a freedom, and I think this is the thing that Elon said that I think is the key to him. He said it's bad to care about what people think about you, and I think that's what the right has been freed of, and that Mitt Romney still had this kind of self-consciousness of who he cared about what other people think about it. They decided to go one way or another. We're going to actually have to try to compete for votes in 2013, or we're not going to care and just have power and win that way. And obviously that's the bet they've made.
Yeah, I said, actually, a long time thing that I've said is and it harms us incredibly. We can equalize them in numerous areas, fighting back harder, the way some of those folks I mentioned have, and now Kamala Harris, and we have it in a presidential candidate who mocks them, fights back hard, and all that. But we can't equalize them in that their lack of shame is actually a superpower for them in politics. Because the fact that they're con men and will say and do anything, they will stand up. They will know they're lying. They will know the people in the room will know they're lying, and they will know that the people know that they're lying, and they'll still go forward and say whatever it is, which is to have that kind of shamelessness is just incredible. But on the money front, I also think a big part of it is, look, I just read where Bill Gates gave Kamala Harris's super PAC $50 million. Okay, did that secretly. Again, secretly, right? I read Jamie Dimon, who I'm not a big fan of, by the way. But right now we're talking about. I'm also not a big fan of Liz Cheney's. But it doesn't matter, because if you read the book How Democracies Die, by Zyblatt and Levinsky, I'm probably mispronouncing your name. The key point I got from that book is you stop either, whether it be Stalinism or or Hitlerism, if that's a word. You stop these things by everybody else. So when it's the far right, the far left, all the way over to the conservative right, everyone has to unite. We can get back to our fighting and our differences later. And so, to me, Jamie Dimon on our side, I'm happy to have him, because I'm happy to have everybody. But again, he apparently has quietly told the Kamala people, he's given them money quietly, told them quietly, of course, he'd serve in her administration if she wanted him to. That's what we need. That fucker is Treasury Secretary. But point being, we have some of those people, even they haven't given nearly as much money. They have not created, as you and I know, a liberal, call it whatever you want, infrastructure, because I've had to create this myself. You've had to create yours yourself. A few of us, we're the few percent that have been lucky enough that have had either other jobs that paid enough money so we could do this on the side, or got lucky and had a viral moment, or whatever it is, that could continue, or consult, or whatever, continue doing this. I can't tell you how many people I know that are some of the most incredibly talented communicators in the left who are now out in corporate America, because we didn't have an AEI or a Cato or a Heritage Foundation, which is now just right-wing political garbage, but it was at one time a think tank, something where we'd say, hey, you're a really smart thinker, writer, and talker. Here's a endowed chair. Here's $250,000, healthcare. Don't worry about anything. Get yourself booked on TV. Write books.
Right.
And we'll mass buy your books. Write columns. Just get your ideas out there. We've never had anything. Why we don't, I do not know, because there are billionaires on our side. But they've never wanted to have their names out there. Maybe they saw what the right did to George Soros, and they're all scared that same thing would come for them. I always thought George Soros made a huge mistake there, that he should have made clear, listen, I don't know what he has, 100 billion, 80 billion, whatever billion he's got. But if they did to me, if they threw the anti-Semitic conspiracy theories at me that endangered my family, I mean, he has to travel around with security. So do his kids, I believe. If they endangered my family the way I did, I would target every one of those motherfuckers. I mean, politically, I would spend billions attacking them, and embarrassing them, and frankly, saying enough stuff about them that maybe they felt a little bit of danger. I'm sorry. That's what I would have done to respond. I think George Soros's huge mistake was letting them get away with defining him that way and having there be no punishment for it. Thank you, Terry White, as a new member. I really appreciate it. Put you up on the screen. So that's been a big part of it. But we do have some people on the right who are, Bloomberg, not of the left, but at least on guns and abortion rights, environment, some things, spent some real money. I know I got my start doing work for Everytown. Yeah. It's why I'm sitting here right now. If they had not paid me a fair wage, like an ample amount to work my butt off for them and try to get their digital communications operation up and going when they first started in 2008, 9, whatever, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd probably be out working some different job too. That gave me the ability to do some other things. So let me kick it back to you. Again, that's some of it, certainly the financial front. But I'm also going to throw this at you, which is, again, it's our mainstream media, clickbait, having no honor, wanting access over anything else. The whole, what's her face? Her name's not coming to me, which is awesome. Margie Haberman, Maggie, I always said Margie, Maggie Haberman, wanting access, whatever. And I always say, and I've said this before, I went to schools. So there are people that are like, hey, I come from a working class background, or I come from an area like Tony, who's on here before, who's been kind enough to have me in his show and help me build this show, comes from the Ozarks. He can speak about certain things in a way about that area that other people can or aren't from there. I mean, again, I'm not saying I'm proud of this or whatever, but I went to some of the name brand schools, and a bunch of these guys, that's where all the guys go who are at the New York Times and Washington Post. I knew these people in school. I can name a bunch of them. And I know what they're about, right? They feel safe. They're making enough money. Their families are money. They're careerism, right? They're about rising up and having an impressive career for when you go to your reunions, being able to and about making enough money on the speech circuit so that the family can get the nice house in the Hamptons, and that has harmed our democracy. You can't even, I think, put a number, put a weighting on how much that's harmed our democracy. And so I want to know your feelings on this. But again, I think that has allowed the right-wing garbage to thrive. And it's even put us in a position where we think this is closer than it is, because they want clickbait. So I know you said it's closer than it should be, and it is. So last thing before I kick it to you, but Trafalgar, Rasmussen, I mean, when you're including those in your polling averages, I'm going to tell you, everybody, your polling is not getting closer. You've got more and more right-wingers dumping crap polls out there. Go ahead, at least as long as I did. I'm sorry that was such a long
Yeah. Being in Michigan, I can't help but feel it's 50-50. It's 50-50. It's a coin flip no matter what. And like you said, this idea that we have to win Republicans. We need Liz Cheney because in Michigan, you don't get a trifecta if you don't have some Republican votes. And we won a trifecta by a swing of 340 votes in 2022. And that was with Gretchen Whitmer winning by 10%. So we're going to have to win some Republicans. I hate doing it as much as anybody does. This question about why the media and this question about, why does it tied to me, what you're saying about George Soros, why doesn't he go and try to destroy everybody? I actually believe, I think, what is his name of his organization is Open Society. I actually think he really genuinely believes this, just like Elon Musk genuinely believes. Yeah. Just like Elon Musk generally believes that trans people are horrible and that he has to destroy them all because his daughter, who he doesn't really know, doesn't like him.
It always goes back to that, like we're talking about Tucker Carlson. It's always a family thing.
It's always a wound. There's this wound, but this belief, this genuinely having a belief. I think the thing that we're lacking in the mainstream media, even the best journalists, and I love that you call her Marjorie Taylor Haberman, in the media, we don't. Covering politics as a game made a lot more sense 10 years ago. Covering politics as a horse race, covering politics as, it's like sports, it's like the weather, it's like the business.
Yeah. Who's up, who's down? Yeah.
We grew up with that. It made, Ronald Reagan's terrible. He's making deals with Iran to
I would argue, though, quickly, that I don't even think it was fair and made sense then. It just wasn't as dangerous then.
It wasn't as dangerous in the sense that we didn't literally have someone we know will never leave power peacefully. I mean, this is the bet here. You can't say you believe in democracy for voting for Donald Trump. You're voting for someone who thinks my vote shouldn't count, who thinks your vote shouldn't count, our parents' vote, or our kids' vote. It's not a belief in democracy. It's a vote for fascism. Everyone knows it at this point. We've gone to beyond spoiler alert. So when you're covering politics now, there's no machinery left in the mainstream media to kind of cover politics for what it is. And that's this existential crisis that we're all facing. So it's on
the
people
stakes,
like
as people say, right?
Yeah. The stakes, not the odds, or is that the Rosen's?
I think Molly Jongfast put it that way. And I put, I'm trying to think of the way I put it for a long time, but it's just, what will the results be for people who are vulnerable? Because again, you and I mean, we may not be okay if it's Trump, because again, we've said enough stuff publicly that I don't think we're A-listers, but Trump's the kind of evil SOB. Oh, what am I talking about? Evil son of a bitch, who, he may not be able to be organized enough to do it, but Stephen Miller and Seb Gorka and some of these guys, I mean, eventually they may get to us, but overall we're safer because we didn't lose the right to control our bodies.
Yes.
We haven't lost the right to love and marry who we want. And if Trump wins, friends of all of ours, our wives, will lose these rights.
And I think of the people that almost instantly, that they can stop the availability of any abortion drugs. Most common, safest form of abortion. I'm glad to see Harris is now running ads about this, and that will happen almost immediately. And that's in Project 2025. Trump has not ever disavowed that would happen. This is something that, this is something that's in all 50 states. People in California don't think this is going to affect them. The Comstock law affects everybody in every state. We are in all red states now. So when we talk about the stakes here, the stakes couldn't be higher. I'm glad that, I think, Cliff, you have a much you're much more sanguine about the results here. I'm really, really scared about this being in Michigan.
That doesn't mean I'm not scared. So I would tell you that just look, man, I'm going to be a basket case. As I said, I'll probably be on some mix of like tequila, cold medicine, like
animal crackers,
whatever. Yeah, animal crackers. Maybe I'll mix some saltines in there, definitely some celery, whatever the hell I can find that night. But it's important to point out, I try to separate the fear and panic I have of if this guy wins from looking at three hugely important things. Well, one is that the polls are not closer. And if you look at the ones that matter, she's up in all of the swing states, including North Carolina, which Joe Biden did win. Two, the turnout operation differential, we have the dipshit up there jumping up and down on stage while he's using the app that DeSantis used in the primaries, which infamously failed. They fired everybody because Trump needed to grift. So they had they have no institutional knowledge on turnout. They think the way Elon Musk thought he could understand Twitter, he's done a brilliant job there. He's only lost like $35 billion. He thinks he understands this stuff. Same with Mr. Potato Head, Charlie Kirk. They're the ones running this thing. Whereas Kamala Harris gave $2.5 million to each state party, $25 million to each contested Senate race through the DSCC. So you've got millions in turnout operations in key states. The Republicans cut all of that and handed it to Elon Musk. And the key thing to know is they sent their people out. People who want to be there, who are volunteering because they care, will always be better than people that are just doing it for a paycheck. And we found that out because already it's been reported in Nevada and Arizona, the people that Musk sent out with his stupid app, 25% of the supposed registrations they came back with were fraudulent. 1 in 4 were fraudulent.
Right.
So they're not going to. So we're going to have a huge turnout operation advantage, which can be worth up to 3 to 4 points. Polls are not as close as they're saying, and that is a huge thing. And finally, the Dobbs effect, which is we have outperformed polls by an average 7 points everywhere from state rep through the midterms, through the Swazi race in congressional New York. You can look at it everywhere where we were supposed. So
Michigan,
the analysis. I know you've got to go because you've got a dentist appointment. But I'll say quickly, my analysis comes, and then we've got incumbency on our side, which I hope to God, whether it's Garland and the FBI, Homeland Security, they better be ready. They better be gaming out a January 6th type thing at polling places to shut them down and that kind of thing. They better be doing that, and I hope they are. And so I would say if the votes are counted, if Putin doesn't break in somehow, if there isn't a militias shutting things down, if it is anything close to accurately counted, yes, I believe we will win. And I think it'll be Obama 08, Clinton re-election 96 type 7, 8, 9 point win and a solid and all that. But my problem is it still has to be fair. And my problem is also, even though this is what the analysis tells me, I'm still going to be scared shitless because it doesn't matter if he only has, in my mind, a 20% chance to win. Speak more, as Mr. WW just said. Did Jason get a chance to speak? I think I spoke too much again. You've got 2 more minutes, I hope, before you have to go. Sure, Give me everything you got.
I would make, I don't want to end on the negative case. I will say that negative case here a little bit is that they have a built-in turnout machine, and that's mega churches, that's gun clubs, that's Fox News, that's AM radio, that's podcasts. Tons of money behind them. I don't think, I think sanguine was the wrong word. I think you are informed and you have a kind of, looking at the polls, you're on Twitter. And this is what I tell people, don't get your news from Twitter. If you have to post it, get your news anywhere else other than Twitter, because the whole point of it is to disillusion you. And I don't want to disillusion anybody because this is definitely winnable. As Ben Wickler says, it's the margin of effort. This is, you have a bigger estimate of how I think it's gonna be a few points every state, maybe, popular vote much bigger, but where it really matters here, I would like to win trifectas in Arizona. I'd like to win trifecta in Pennsylvania. I'd like to win trifecta in Michigan. That's going to be by thousands, maybe hundreds of votes. That's going to really require just everyone doing everything they possibly can do. And that's the thing, as I see, is I think the advantage we have is this is not out of anger. This is out of belief. And the people who are watching this, they believe in what they're doing. They know what the right thing is to do, and they know the power they have. And I've seen the power that people are putting into what they believe this year. And I think that's what's going to make the difference here. I think that's the effort that's going to make this happen.
I think we'll turn out anyhow. So before, again, if you're a minute or two late, I have to believe your dentist will allow you to get your
You should
teeth
see
done.
these motherfuckers. I mean, these are bad. These
Your
are bad,
teeth
bro.
look, they are beautiful. They are beautiful. You cannot leave without telling people everywhere to find you, especially the key places to find you, that we're trying to build.
I would just say, if you can, check out the Ball Thread podcast. It's the history of how we got to here in the last 8 years with Marcy Wheeler. It's very optimistic in the sense of it gives you all the information to understand how the power works, and I hope it's a good story.
But it's at the Early Worm YouTube channel,
it's
right?
on the Early Worm YouTube channel. You can watch them all, or you can just search Ball Thread anywhere and subscribe at the
And
Early
is that
Worm
at
YouTube.
Early Worm, so we can let people know?
It's like some weird number. I realized as I was jumping in here, I had all kinds of trouble that I don't even quite know but I think
I do this all the time.
Yeah, if people check out Ball Thread, I'd be more than happy. Right there. Anywhere.
Guys, seriously, Jason is one of the most valuable, I would say, insightful and funny, brilliant voices out there. I'm going to let him go get his teeth fixed. But go to Early Worm, the podcast. Is it Ball of Thread? Is that what you said?
Yep, Ball Thread.
Go there and check it out. He's awesome. He should have a lot more subscribers. Subscribe. And I'm going to stay here with you guys. Good luck to your teeth, Jason. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Cliff.
We'll have you back again. Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Working on this, guys. I do talk a little bit too much. I have strong opinions. I hope, I wish Jason had been able to stay longer. I think hopefully he got some good stuff in there. Now I want to talk to you, as you guys all know. This last part of the show I always like to do is I want to know what you think. I want to know what your criticisms are. I want to know what your questions are. I want to know, first of all, more importantly, about politics, about where I can answer questions, how I can help you. Boogerman, I like the name. Thanks, Cliff. We support you via Hal and Tony. Keep up the great work. Booger the cat. Vote against fascism. Vote Harris Walls 2024. Happy Halloween. You are awesome. Thank you for the super chat. I'll say to folks, super chats and super stickers, as I point out, are the way that I can keep increasing the number of these that I do, because it allows me to do less of the other stuff that I have to do to make that living. But I think Elon is a dipshit. I agree completely with Cynthia Rice, as I've said. I mean, honestly, I think Elon is, I'm going to go further than that. I think Elon is the embodiment of American failure. He is Donald Trump, just a younger sort of entrepreneur version of Donald Trump. He's a guy who came out of school, got in league with Peter Thiel and other fascists, stole people's ideas. No, Tesla was not his. The media, being awful, wrote about him in a way that was not true, because he gave these big, bold prognostications. Who's this person that keeps saying, fuck America first? Oh, fuck America first. Okay, that's fine, as long as you're not sitting here saying fuck America. He had these bold prognostications. They reported on him like he was fucking Tony Stark. I mean, and he'd never really opened his mouth, and we didn't know. He got government subsidies, all of our taxpayer money to do all these things. His stupid rocket ships are still crashing. He sexually harassed women who worked there. He locked workers in his Tesla factories. He didn't follow COVID protocols. Donald Trump broke the law for years, and we did nothing, right? Our justice departments, various local, national, did nothing. Our media reported on these people like they were heroes. And so he is just another example of the failure of America. He would not be where he is. He would just be a regular, everyday dipshit if it weren't for the fact of all these American institutions failing. I think that is very important. Can we pull this government? I don't know that we can deport him. I think he's a citizen, sadly, but government contracts, yeah, that's another thing. I don't understand it. I really don't understand. Again, there may be some things that are in contracts where you cannot go back on them, or you may have to pay him some sort of fine, but no new ones, certainly. Anything you can cancel, and nothing new. Lock him out. Not even for revenge. He's a security threat. He's in with Russia. He wants to sell Teslas in China. Like, he's proven he has he put up a tweet alluding to Kamala Harris, after the assassination of Trump. Why didn't it happen to her? This is not somebody that should be getting government money for anything. So, I mean, yes, he absolutely, to use the word that upsets the fake free speechers like him. Remember, every time you hear one of them say censorship free speech, what they mean is freedom to share fascist and Russian propaganda so we can trick enough voters to win. That's another conversation about our First Amendment that's failed us, where we prioritize disinformation as much as information. Canada doesn't do that. The United Kingdom doesn't do that. Germany doesn't do that. Germany learned a lesson where they don't do that. And they're all democracies, and they argue much stronger ones than we are. But that's another conversation. That's where Elon Musk is. What other questions, comments do you have? Thanks for the voice, Cliff. Keep on racking it up for the truth and reality. This is Marira Ali. I really appreciate it. Be able to introduce them to the real world Oedipus complexes. Yes, that would be Tucker and some of them. Public school, they say that your children's teachers are all pedophiles. Oh, that the Republicans say that. Okay, good. You're not saying that. Yeah. Well, again, remember, folks, that when you're talking about vigorously spanking your 15-year-old, when you see Ivanka sitting on Trump's lap, when you know about, numerous Republicans in the past, they hung out with Jeffrey Epstein, George Nader, who was one of their supporters. That's them. They're the ones with the underage girls. Ted Nugent. I mean, again, there's a list of them, right? Denny Hastert, longest serving House Speaker for the Republicans, went to prison for fondling 15-year-old boys. Again, this is who they are. I used to do a segment back in the day one of my first thing I ever did on the Young Turks called Republican Sexcapades. The Young Turks and I have diverged a little bit, if that's a word. Been divergent in we still agree on some things. They are far further in the leftward direction because I am more of a consensus liberal and think that that's the way you get stuff done, by fighting the bad guys as hard as possible, but also by working with people on your side. Ty Golden, thank you for the $5 for the super chat. You're awesome. Leon Moist is no American. No, he's not. Jim Jordan. You just got to wait, my friend who just said about Jim Jordan, because issue 1, anybody in here, please, I'm going to ask you all. If you live in Ohio, yes on issue 1. If you don't live in Ohio but have relatives or friends in Ohio, put on your Facebook, put on your Twitter, put on your TikTok, put on your YouTube, put on your Snapchat, put on anything you've got, yes on issue 1. They are trying to lie and trick people. It will lead to the death of gerrymandering in Ohio. They turned Ohio from a swing state into a strong, lean Republican state. There are a couple ways they did it. One of the ways was by gerrymandering and depressing people to the point of where they often didn't vote. Jim Jordan has one of the 3 or 4, I think I read, most gerrymandered districts in the country. It is ridiculous. Jim Jordan has to compete in anything resembling a fair district. Like, he will do what Lauren Boebert does. Remember where she underperformed that district, so she moved a +8 or 6, 7 Republican district, and she only won by 500 votes? I promise you, Jim Jordan will underperform by 5, 7, 8 points because even enough Republicans hate him. You just need to put him in a semi-fair district. We can't do that with gerrymandering. Yes, on issue 1. I gave 100 to his opponent, Rob Law. I assume you're saying Jim Jordan, good. Look, I'm not saying she can't win. We've upended and won some races that have been shockers. And we should, Doug Jones won. Remember that? In Alabama. Bama. So you always, if we don't have good people running who get the support, so absolutely support Tammy Wilson running against him. I'm just making the point that the reason he's won to this point and he's been able to hang in there, even though he's a freaking lying scumbag traitor, is because of the fact that it is so gerrymandered. Illinois is gerrymandered to the ultimate degree, Democrat. Yeah, well, so, and I don't know, Mr. WW, maybe, I don't know if you are here to troll or whatever, but that's the beauty. Nobody can just come back and be like, oh, Democrats do that. I'm against it when Democrats do it too. But I'd point out to you that Illinois and Maryland were the 2 Democratic gerrymandered states, not California, which is equal. Meanwhile, Republicans gerrymandered Ohio, Texas, Arizona, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina. I could go on and on. Not even close, the amount of gerrymandering. It gave Republicans, the only reason the Republicans held the House last time was because of gerrymandering. They would have lost the House. Okay? Easy to look up, do a little research. But again, I don't just hear and say, well, my side does it, it's okay. There should be fair districts everywhere. Crazy, huh? Having not just being a partisan hack, but having objective beliefs you think should apply to everyone. Kind of like Bob Menendez was when he was a criminal. Yeah, I called for him to resign. I called for him not to be reelected. I'm glad another great Democrat got in there, and Andy Kim. I didn't do what Republicans did and lie and protect our criminal, like Jim Jordan, who didn't pay attention to people being molested in showers in Ohio State, and James Comer, whose girlfriend in college accused him of physical abuse, but no one will ever look that one up. Or Matt Gaetz being investigated for underage girls yet again. Or Donald Trump, criminal in every way humanly imaginable. What else do we got? Yes. Jim's district looks like a rotting salamander, penny to create. You are correct. I mean, it's a joke. It's not a district. All right. It's let's sit here, make a map, and let's find every mouth-breathing anus who was willing to vote for a right-wing loon, and let's put them in the district. Probably went door to door and asked people who they're voting for, and that's where they drew the lines. Trump should star in Weekend at Boners with Stormy Daniels. Yeah, I mean, I don't know though. Really, at this point, I think for him to get really erect to get into it, he might have to. I think, and I've heard he may be doing this. He has to dig up Arnold Palmer's penis. So I've heard he may be somewhere exhuming his penis, and therefore we'll be able to get more excited, and that's important. No money, G. Ohio used to be a swing state. I mean, yeah. Metzenbaum, familiar? People like that. John Glenn, American hero. We still have Sherrod Brown, and again, that's not the only reason we cease to be a swing state. But Ohio is one of a couple states that is in a position where, if you fix gerrymandering, Donald Trump had a unique and bullshit pitch that worked in Northern Ohio about the tariffs and that he was going to keep the automobile industry here and whatever. It was a huge lie, and he was able to pull it off. So he was able to pull a little bit more from here than from some other states. And then I would add to those two things that the demographics had changed in a direction against us because the cities had gotten small. We don't have a Philadelphia. We don't have a New York City or a Chicago to make up for rural areas. We have the 3 Cs and some smaller cities. And even the 3 Cs, Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, are medium-sized cities, 300,000, 400,000. But here's the deal if you ungerrymander. Because we're old historic cities that were prosperous and kept companies here that are now growing again. Procter & Gamble, Kroger in Cincinnati, so that young folks are moving back because the city has been built up again. For the first time, our population is growing again. It's growing with younger, more liberal folks and others who are moving here for Procter & Gamble from East West Coast. And I'm sorry, it's just a fact. A study was done in Ohio because of COVID denialism, lack of wearing masks and getting your vaccine. A net 18,000 more Republicans died due to that. On top of that, the way they hated Michelle Obama for saying we should have healthy food in school. They eat the way Donald Trump eats. They fight for their lifestyle of mining, where they get black lung. They smoke tobacco and get lung cancer. They do not exercise. They, what else among the bad habits? Rage, tweet, and yell. Not good for the heart. The life expectancy, there's an Oxycontin epidemic, which J.D. Vance said he was trying to help, and then for his foundation, literally sent a rep of pharma in, probably to get more clients. With all of that, the life expectancy in the rural areas of Ohio has gone way down, and we're growing in the cities, and then we ungerrymander. That means our 7-point loss or so to Trump last time. I'm telling you right now, they had to start advertising here a few months ago because I'm guessing it showed that we were down a point or two or it was equal. The last poll that came out here had us down only 3. We may not win it this time. I think we'll come close, and Sherrod Brown will definitely win because he's an amazing politician and will come close enough and whatever. But you ungerrymander and you add in those demographics, the next presidential election, we will be a swing state again. We may be a slight Republican lean state. I'm not saying we'll be a total equal, but no Republican's not winning by 8 points here or 7 points here or even 5 points here next time. We may be a lean 2 or 3 Republican state, very winnable. Wisconsin got gerrymandering kicked to the curb. Absolutely right, Denise Roessler. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And that, my friends, is one of the ways that Wisconsin moved to the left because they were cheating on the right, as they do. Blah, 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 blah. What else do we got? Will they ever get rid of the Electoral College? I mean, getting a constitutional amendment passed is a really difficult thing, but here's what we can do. You may have heard of the Electoral College Compact. That's where enough states that are over 270 electoral votes get together, and that was from Screams, so that you can, so that nobody can win without a popular majority, right? If you have more than 270 electoral votes, you're in. I think enough states have joined now that we're at 230, 240. So we take over a few other states, we can do that. And so we can make it that enough states have that compact that they will only vote for the winner of the popular vote. And that is the way you undo the Electoral College. We can undo a lot of the other Republican advantages with simple legislation. If Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin hadn't been, look at me, look at me, look at me, and had been actual moderates who supported the Democratic Party, like John Tester, like Mark Kelly, they would have gotten rid of the filibuster and we would have taken care of it. You pass a Voting Rights Act and you stop the ridiculous voter suppression. You add DC and Puerto Rico at the very least as states if Puerto Rico wants it. And I've argued there should be no such thing as territories in the 21st century. It is a ridiculous, racist, out-of-date concept. So I would take the populations, each of about 100 to 200,000 of the U.S. Virgin Islands and Northern Marianas and Guam and put them together and let them all vote to send 2 senators to Washington and advocate for all their interests. That's 6 more senators to make up for the cow states, South Dakota, North Dakota, really small states that benefit Republicans. So you'd help some of the institutional issue with the Senate by doing that, because you can't change the Senate in the same way. That's also an issue. You need the Constitution. This is a way, adding states, you don't. And of course, you fix our judicial system. No prescription for lifetime judges or, how many judges sit in a court. I've argued again and again, we should not have 13 judges on the U.S. Supreme Court. We've not added a judge since literally right after the Supreme Court. This country has grown 11 times bigger. We're at 30 million. We're not taking cases that have nothing to do with politics that they're just not taking that need to be resolved in our modern age. So forget 13. I think 17 at least. I'd prefer it if it were 21. You depoliticize the court. We'd put people on there to make up for the right-wingers who stole these seats from us, and then just put on good jurists who believe in following stare decisis and actually not overturning the order. And you would get choice back, and you would get the actual original interpretation of guns as a right that a group had, not an individual, so that we could regulate them more thoroughly. And you get, Voting Rights Act would be enforced there, and we'd get money out of politics, get rid of Citizens United, and we actually would have working courts. What else? Jay, thank you for the $10. I think the ground game, where are you, Jay, is going to be the deciding factor. That's what I said earlier. I think what Jason said was very smart. There will be, they do have the NRA, Russian funded, they do have churches. It's still not the same thing as having one organized get out the vote ground game being run by your party. And they have gotten rid of that for Elon Musk, the idiot. That we have experience, all these folks that did it for Obama, Biden, going back, that we have put more money into it. As I said, hundreds of millions, if you count up all the money we gave to Senate races in key states and to state parties. It's going to be enormous, and it could make a 3 to 6 point difference, and that changes everything. Jim Williams with $20 super chat. Jim, I thought I'd put, what did I put on there? Jay, did I give you your time? I should have. Thank you. Great job as always, Cliff. Kamala and the coach will win by double digits. I'm hoping the members of the GOP will be called out and tried for sedition. Double digits is quite a bet. I think it could happen. I'm betting right now Obama won by about 7. Bill Clinton in 08. Bill Clinton in 96 won by about 9. With a functioning media that told people the truth, yes, it'd be. I think it'd be a 20-point victory. I think it'd be Goldwater getting his butt kicked. I think it'd be Reagan over Mondale territory. With our current media, I think still Trump's acting crazy enough. Our ground game's better enough. Dobbs and all these things. I think 7 to 9 is what I'm going with, and I think we will win all the swing states that Biden won. We will win North Carolina, and then out of Florida, Ohio, and Texas, I'm going to argue that we will win one of those 3. That we're so close in all of them, we win one of them, the other 2 become close, and this ends up that any of those 3 states have large electoral vote counts, and this ends up getting closer. Ohio would be the only one of those 3 where you might not call it a landslide. if we win Florida or Texas in their electoral votes, it becomes an electoral vote landslide. What else we got? Okay, I get people telling me to block people. I guess there may be some people in here that aren't very nice. Who are you, Dub? People are saying bad things about you. Are you... Okay, Dub, you're calling people names. You're being kind of an asshole. I'm going through your stuff here. Folks, is Dub a troll? Does Dub need to be removed? Does Dub have a little bit of a weak cerebral cortex? Maybe a brain worm like his buddy RFK? What are we talking about here? Dub blocked here equals that. Dub is being a jerk. Dub, you're not popular here, pal. You're just not. Yeah, I'm putting you in a timeout, Dub. Good luck and no Godspeed. Why haven't Harris Walls come here in Ohio, Karen Burkus? Because again, it's not the priority state. They have advertised here, and I wrote ads for Biden. I think I've talked about that before in 2020. We stopped advertising here long before now. When I was watching one of the baseball playoff games, we were advertising here. They have come here too. I'm trying to remember when. I think it was Walls was here. He was in Cincinnati, I want to say 2 weeks ago. So no, not regularly, but they have come here. They just look, you got to nail down those key swing states, and you got to nail down. There's only so much time. You know, they sent Doug Emhoff down to Florida, and Kamala did open a get out the vote operation in Tallahassee, which makes me think Florida may be looking a little bit closer than we are. And it makes sense, right? We lost Ohio by 7.5. We lost Texas by 5.5, I believe. And we lost Florida by 3, maybe 3.5. So, I mean, again, I understand that, but I wish they were here more, but they're putting some resources into Ohio. They gave Brown, the SEC, a big amount of money for Brown. They gave money to the party here. So we're going to have a much superior get out the vote effort, which means if we're within 3 or 4 or 5 points here, even, we have a shot at winning. That would be outstanding. I think Sherrod is a national hero. I think it's undoubtedly true that Sherrod Brown is a national hero. Never has stopped believing what he's believed in, has fought for working people, is just as comfortable, you know, like most of these guys are so comfortable in a room, you know, a wealthy donor room. He's just as comfortable in a trucker hall. I've been to these places where he fits right in, has fought for the right things all along, is just a terrific senator. And he just put out a poll that showed that it was an internal poll from Bernie Moreno that he was down 2. My guess is that Sherrod used that purposely to scare people because he has to keep raising money, because he has to continue this fight through the end. Polling I've seen shows it more like a 4 to 5 point Sherrod Brown advantage, but we should act like he's down 2. Turn out, knock on doors, donate. I'll be sharing some on Twitter. If you follow me, I'm at Cliff Schechter. I'm going to be later today sharing some links to Sherrod Brown, John Tester, some of the other races. I have a PAC. We raise money for important Democratic races, and then what comes to us, we use to support them. Appreciate the show, Cliff. Good job, JD Christie, with $1.99. Thank you so much. Again, it allows me to do this stuff. I really appreciate it. This allows me to really, you know, fight the fight. Is Beyonce with Kamala in Texas? Yeah, I think I saw that. So there you go. They're going to Texas. Colin Allred, I've heard, is actually winning. Again, everybody turn out. Everybody knock on doors. I think we are going to knock off Ted Cruz. But I would tell you, winning Texas's electoral votes, I can't even tell you what that would mean. That would turn that state around. Even and that in the Senate race, change everything. We'd probably win a lot of state house races if we did that too. Turn that around, and you'd be looking at a legit swing state. And Texas has like 38 or something electoral votes. It would be an electoral vote landslide. Just winning that state and the state and North Carolina and the states that Biden won. So that would be huge. Remove Cruz. Damn right. Let him spend all the fucking time he wants down in Cancun. Maybe he can swim among sharks and batteries like Trump. Free to a good home, one head cold. I'm not sure. That's from Alto Eager, who gave a $2 super chat. Thank you. Are you saying you have a head cold? If you do, I'm very sorry. Feel better. Make sure you get your, I just got my COVID vaccine the other day. Make sure you're getting yours. Casual Observer, Texas, please vote for Colin Allred. Yes, I mean, that to me is the second most important thing. Well, issue one in Ohio. Let's say of the electoral races. No, I need Sherrod Brown to win. Sorry. Sherrod Brown holding on. The third most important thing to me is Colin Allred knocking off that idiot Ted Cruz. And I might almost be tied with Rick Scott being knocked off by Debbie Mercado-Powell, who is almost tied too, is right there. Those two races are very winnable. There's two very unlikable, horrible Republicans. They both fight with Mitch McConnell. They both have fought back and forth with Trump. They don't get along with anybody. A lot of their own party hates them. Abbott doesn't like Cruz. DeSantis doesn't like Scott. They're all dicks. So the division could help us. If we could hold on to every one of our Senate seats and win those two seats, I would consider that a blowout for the Senate. We'd have 53 seats. Filibuster would be gone. Roe would be codified. Universal background checks, assault weapons ban, LGBTQIA protections, even more funds and even more mitigation of climate change. Minimum wage going from 7, whatever it is, 25 right now. I'm sure up to at least $15, maybe more. Union protections. I can go on and on. It would be amazing. How are you back, Dub? I put you in a timeout. Are timeouts only temporary? Do I have to put you in another temporary timeout and keep doing that? Okay, I don't care. I don't want to hear anybody use what I will call the R word here. Okay? Stop. Stop doing that shit. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but you know what? I will promise you guys, I will know how to work the whole thing better. And I guess we need moderators. We've gotten big enough, which I suppose is a really cool thing because we weren't there. Is there anything else we got here? You need some mods, Cliff. Yes, I do, Casual Observer. Yes, I do. And I will promise you, as I think I was just saying, there will be mods here next time. We have till Tuesday. We got 5 days. I got time to work it out. If anybody in there is who is a viewer of the show, enjoys their time here, and would like to help moderate, let me know, because I know the best people are the people that are invested in something. I know Tony's got some folks doing that. I'm looking around. Yeah, just block Dub and move on. The problem I'm having here is I put user in a timeout. Oh, ban user and delete their comments. Yeah, let's see if that works. Did I do that to the wrong person? Or did I do that to Dub? Now I'm scared. Is Dub here? Casual Observer, you still here? Because if I, by the mistake, that's what I was worried about. It doesn't do something stupid. Who did I ban? Cliff bans Tony. Okay. I think Cliff's about to hit the self-destruct button. Guys, if I blow up, though, wouldn't that be one of the greatest sort of exits of all time? You have to promise me, Ellen Siegfried, you promised to be a mod. Cool. Reach out to Tony if you know. I don't know how to reach out to me here, but because I don't have an email. And please, if I blocked somebody by mistake, I think I got the right one, right? Because I'm not seeing our friend Dub here. But I was worried that I did to Casual Observer by mistake. Please, Casual Observer, check in. And for all of you who may know Casual Observer, if I screwed up and by mistake Cliff banned self, I could do that. That could happen. If I did that, please let her, I think it was a picture of a woman, but it could be he, her, know that that was a screw up. Seems to be gone again. No dubs. Okay, I think I got it right. Don't press the red button. Self-destruct. I know. Is there one that kind of launches my chair through the roof? Because that would be kind of cool for all of you. Yeah, I think when I'm getting to the point where I'm worried that I may be banning the wrong person, hitting the wrong buttons, and just generally being a moron, a lummox, if you will. I am casual observers. Okay, cool. Then it's probably time to almost end this whole thing. A lummox, a mook, a cockroach. I'm going to try to come up with every word I know that's a fun word to call myself, because I'm a bit of an idiot when it comes to this technical stuff. I'm getting dubs in Moscow. Well, that'll be a fun place to be soon. I guess when Ukraine starts bombing there soon enough, that'll be fun. A Luddite. I'm not a total Luddite. I just haven't done this, like trying to talk to you while I'm trying to do this is a bit of a challenge. Okay. I don't want to if I just keep talking about this, because then I'm just boring everybody to hell. What else? We're at 3:21 here. I'm going to stay on until 3:25 at least. So you got 4 more minutes for questions and comments. Throw them at me, kids. Throw me what you got. I'll answer anything that's, within reason. Do we have anything else? Good chat, Cliff, by Jane Jones. Thank you, Jane. I like that name, Jane Jones. You should be a writer. You should, that's some good, alliteration there. We're testing you, Cliff. I appreciate that, WW. Great show, Cliff. Cynthia Rice. I love all the nice comments. Great show, Cliff. Annette. Oh, Serrana. My wife's, do we use maiden name anymore? I feel like that's sexist, but her name, well, no, that's not true. It was her mom's maiden name was Serrano. So we like Serranos. Serrano. Joni McGillick. I'm learning a lot, Cliff. Outstanding. Cliff, you're doing great. I don't know the first, what does that say? I don't know the first thing about how this stuff works. Yes, thank you, Michael Whaley. Seriously, it was all new to me. And again, I'm not scared of technology. I can figure it out, whatever. Figuring it out while you're also trying to be interesting to people is tougher. If I were just figuring it out, then that'd be one thing. But I'll see if I can figure out a way to contact you, Cliff. Okay, here you go. Is it I am Siegfried? I'll give you one of the work ones. So if somebody decides to come at me, this is a list that they're not going to get anything personal from me. So let's give you this one. Hold on. Okay, that's not the one I want. This may be the one I want. There we go. Here we go. You can be a mod. Reach out to me here. cs@blueampaction.com. That is a work one, and it's not even a work one where, like, oh my God, I must see everything. It's a sort of extra work one. So if some schmuck in here who's a MAGA person decides they're gonna, hit that one up with spam, they're really not gonna destroy my life. Ooh, who wants to be Grace? Gracie wants to be a mod? Is that sarcasm? If you want to be, again, you saw the email that I shared, cs@blueampaction.com. Send me something and we'll mod you up, man. We'll mod you up. See, I'm even to a point now, like because we're not, there's not much going on. We don't have any jokes anymore here. I mean, I can make fun of myself for being a bit of a moron, a maroon, if you will, but woo. How is that breaking the law? It's registering people. Oh, you're talking about paying. Is that you again, Dub? Are you effing kidding me? Dude, take a hint. I just kicked Dub out again. Guys, there's a problem here. Because I did the block and ban and Dub was back. Dub, honestly, fuck off and go somewhere people like you. Like the moon or the middle of space, preferably without oxygen, or Atlantis or Donald Trump's penis. I mean, there's got to be a place where they like you better than we like you here. I can think of a lot of places where, you know, a combine, maybe the middle of a combine would be good. I don't know. You could always, well, okay, I'm gonna stop. I don't know. They may come after me and say that I'm encouraging somebody to commit suicide, which I'm really not. I'm just calling him an asshole, but I probably should stop. All right, guys, I think we are reaching that ever so lovely and fun point. It is 3:25. So here we go. 60-minute countdown. Anything else? Any last question? Any last, hey, Cliff, you're a freaking dick and you talk too much. True. Maybe both of those things. Jim Williams is a mod. He does a good job on Tony's. Jim Williams, if you want to be a mod on here, I don't know if you want to mod 2 times in a row, but you're a good dude. We could do it. Cool show. Michael McAndrews, thank you. Great job, Cliff. Andy Travels, thank you. That freak dub should take a trip to Mars with Musk felon. Yeah, why don't they go on a one-way trip to Mars? Preferably with a rocket launcher attached to their asses. All right, guys. Seriously, I think we've definitely slowed down. We're ready. This has been fun. You've been awesome. I'm really proud of what we've been able to put together here with all of you showing up, hanging out, and just being such an important part of this whole thing. And again, I will be back on Tuesday. I may think about the last week before the election, even doing a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But I will be back on Tuesday and then Thursday. I will see you then. Please subscribe. As you know, you want to subscribe to @Cliffs_Edge. That will be the YouTube. You want to join the YouTube club. I'm going to make a special video today, folks. I'm finally trying to get this stuff organized, but the person who's supposed to do it for me quit. But I'm going to get people the video I promised them and much more. So please become a member. Any last super chats or super stickers you want to give, I'd appreciate it. It helps me do more of this, and it's been an adventure. You know what? At 56, Nick Rich, I believe that is the way that we end this. It has been an adventure. You guys are all awesome. I love you. Seriously, I love doing this. And I think that's it. We're out. Take care, guys. Be good. Have fun storming the castle.